Hi, friend. I'm Amy, homeschool mom to 9, Grammy to 5, coming up on 6 in a few weeks. And I'm someone who's spent most of my adult life learning how to follow the Lord into places that I did not feel ready for at all. Today, I wanted to share one of those stories with you. Years ago, when my husband and I were still a young military family, we had just moved to a new state with 2 little kids and a toddler. So 3 little tiny kids. And we were in that season where, everything feels unfamiliar. We had a new house, we had new routines, a new church, new everything. We had started attending a church that we were pretty sure it was where we were going to land for our home church. And I was really hungry at that time for Bible study. I had just come from our home church in our previous state where we had really been digging into some excellent Bible studies, and it was just what my soul was needing as a young mom who was alone a lot with my kids because my husband was gone. And at this new church, I asked the pastor's wife if there were any women's Bible studies at this church, and she didn't just say yes. She said, yeah, have you ever done a Bible study before? And I'm like, oh yeah. And she's like, oh, what have you done? And so I was kind of sharing what we'd been doing at my last church. And she was like, oh, that's awesome. And then she's like, how would you feel about leading the next one? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? So my internal reaction is like, excuse me, what? That's not what I asked, And I was 25. I was brand new to this church. I wasn't a brand new Christian, but I was brand new to this church. I was only 25 years old. Most of these women were old enough to be my mother. I was sleep deprived. I just moved. Our house when we moved it ended up surprise. It needed the kitchen redone, to be redone, excuse me. And I just was not in a position to be like considering that. That's how I felt. I had absolutely zero desire to be perceived as somebody who thought like I knew enough to be teaching grown, women my mother's age stuff from the Bible. Well, I smiled at her. I was like, well, I was trying to be polite, and I'm like, there is no way God would want me to do this, But I told her I'd pray about it. And I did. I was like, Lord, this is crazy, Like, no way, surely not, right? But the answer was very clear. It was a yes. Not because I had experience, not because I had confidence. I certainly didn't have that. And certainly not because I felt ready. But you know what? God wasn't asking if I felt qualified, right? He was asking if I was willing. And so, I was terrified, actually. I was super nervous to go and tell her this. And I went and told her, I'm like, okay, I feel like God said yes. So she invited me to the monthly women's meeting, and she was like, originally I just said, okay, I would lead a Bible study. I went to the monthly women's meeting. The reason she asked me, I want to just clarify this. She was older, and she told me, she's like, I'm recovering from cancer treatments. I've needed to step away from this. Nobody has stepped up to take this over. And if you're willing, I'm open to you doing that. The Bible study is what I thought it was. At this meeting, she told everybody, she goes, we're so happy Amy came to our meeting, and she's agreed to lead our women's ministries. And I'm like, what? So see, wow, okay. It was not what I was expecting. And then we're like, oh, okay. I'm like, what is going on? Okay, well, I led that first study, and it was amazing for me. I love study. I love learning. And turns out I love teaching. And even before then, I had been a Sunday school teacher. I was teaching my own kids. Like my oldest was in kindergarten that year, and it was our first year of homeschooling. I enjoyed teaching, but I didn't feel like I was qualified to be teaching elder women. Not they're elderly, but women older than me in a different place in life. But I did lead it. And then I did another one, and then another one. I led 3 Bible studies in total during our time at that church. And here is what I learned in that season. God's calling, at least for me, rarely arrives when we feel prepared, okay? The places that he sends us are usually places that stretch us, and I was stretched. Now, teaching didn't just grow me, it actually revealed me. The gifts that he planted were already there, but they needed some space to kind of grow and breathe. And I didn't know it then, but God was preparing me for something further down the road. Because the work that I do now, the work that I've done up till now, guiding other homeschool moms with homeschooling coaching and just like being there for them and teaching people, actually teaching other homeschool moms about studying the Bible is something I've done in the past too. But currently, what I do, guiding other homeschooling moms into income that honors your family rhythms and your faith. Doing that requires the same things that season built in me, which is obedience when it feels uncomfortable, confidence that I'm rooted in him, not me, a willingness to go first, because nobody likes that. If you're like at an event or anything like a party or anything, or it's like, let's do an icebreaker, and you're like, I'm not going first, oh my gosh, or whatever, right? But sometimes somebody has to go first. A heart for women who are quietly asking, is there room for me too? Yeah, there is. And I think about that younger version of me often. The one who thought she didn't belong in front of a room full of women who were much older. The one who thought that she was too young and too new and too unqualified. See, I wish I could sit with that version of me and just say, you don't have to be the most knowledgeable. You just have to be willing. God's not asking you to be impressive. He's asking you to be available. And you know what? I think some of you watching this are maybe in that same place. Maybe God's nudging you towards something. Maybe it's something that would bless your family financially, or something that lets you stay home and stay present. Maybe it's something that stretches you, but it also lights you up. And maybe your first response is, not me. I am not confident enough. I am not skilled enough. I don't even know where to start. I want to tell you, you don't have to know everything to start. You just need to take the first obedient step. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I'm feeling a nudge, but I don't want to lose my family in the process. Guess what? You're my people. Because I don't teach moms how to hustle their lives away. I teach moms how to build income inside their real life without sacrificing the reason that we want to be home in the first place. So if this is resonating with you, if something in your spirit is saying, this is me. I'm being called into something and I don't want to do it alone. I made a comment called, no pressure, no commitment, just a conversation. Just seeing what God might be inviting you into. I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I am grateful that you are here, and I believe God is doing something beautiful in your story too.